Hi guys, welcome to today's pose breakdown, and in this video I would like to talk to you about Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. Now, like I've said before, and I will probably say at the beginning of every single one of these pose breakdowns, my intention for these videos is to offer you alignment tips, prop options, modifications when they're applicable, and really to open up the pose. I think what happens a lot is we get an idea of what a pose is supposed to look like, and depending on the structure of our body, our skeleton, our muscles, the range of motion in our joints, that shape may or may not be accessible. And one of the great things about yoga is that it's not one of those things where you have to force your body into that shape in order to get the benefit. One of the most powerful things, in my opinion, about yoga is that you can suit the pose to your body and get the benefit. So, for a standing forward fold, a lot of us might have the idea that we are supposed to have straight legs, dive down gracefully, and end up with our face in between our shins, folding in half. If that happens in your body, awesome. But if not, you can still get the benefit of the pose without having to compromise your body. Because this is what I see happen a lot. Somebody is coming into a standing forward fold, they're keeping their legs straight, and then, there's no more stretching happening here. Their back curves and they hang like this. Now, this is already hurting my back. I think that kind of pose is going to do more harm than good. So what I'd like to offer you is just a shift of focus. There are a lot of really great ways to stretch the hamstrings, and in my opinion, a lot safer ways to stretch the hamstrings than a standing forward fold. Depending, again, this depends on your body. This is something you're going to have to play with and see what works for you. But I'd like to offer you a couple of variations that can either begin your folding in half journey or be where you stay. For me, the real, I don't want to say the real point, but the focus that I like to approach a standing forward fold with is a release for the spine. Because there are a lot of different variations you can do to get that same release for the spine, and you will actually get a release in the hamstrings as well. It just won't feel quite as intense of a stretch. You know what I mean? That didn't come out correctly, but you know what I mean. So what we're going to do is stand. We'll start with feet hips distance apart. You can play with that, of course. You can have the feet together, you can have the feet wider. That's something you can explore on your own. We're going to start feet hips distance apart. It's generally where your feet are going to be in a class when you're moving into a standing forward fold. These same ideas can be applied wherever the feet are, though. So lifting the toes, root down under the big toe, under the baby toe, under the heel. Really settle into your feet. You can keep the toes lifted or soften them down. So instead of keeping the knees straight, we're going to bend them a lot. And we're actually going to start off with a variation that's going to be great if you don't want to go upside down. Maybe you have a headache. Maybe you have vertigo issues, blood pressure issues, or you're just not feeling hanging upside down. Take a deep breath in, hands on your hips. And as you exhale, bend your knees a lot. Sit the hips back and bring your elbows to your thighs. So kind of sit back into the hips. Have the inner thighs hugging in just a little bit, just to keep the legs stable and strong underneath you. And here's your option A. The hamstrings are actually getting a little release here. The spine is able to soften. You're getting a really great and safe stretch through the low back. Check it out. See how you feel. Notice how you feel here, especially if a standing forward fold is usually the part of the class where you're like, oh, really? I hate this pose. See if this maybe helps you not hate it so much. So option A. Option B, if it is comfy for you to go upside down, keep the knees just as bent and just let the body relax. So let the body kind of hang out on the thighs. Relax the head, maybe shake it out, nod yes and no. This is also sometimes called standing forward fold. And again, you're getting that really beautiful release through the spine, through the muscles of the back, and still a little in the hamstrings as well. On your next inhale, bend into your knees a lot. Lift all the way up with a flat back. Use your legs. So again, your spine and your low back aren't taking any of that pressure. Ooh, and you might need to pause for a moment and just let everything settle back down. So that is usually how I begin the kind of practice of a standing forward fold. Now I'm going to grab a couple blocks. You can use blocks or not, depending especially on the length of your arms. I have short little arms, so I need some help bringing the floor to me. So this is how I prefer to start to bring a little bit more flexibility, a little more stretch into the hamstrings. So grab your blocks, bring them in front of your feet. So we're going to come into that same version with the knees bent. So inhale. Exhale, start to shift, and you're folding from the crease of your hip, not your back. Bend your knees a lot, and then you can bring your hands to the blocks or to the floor. You can adjust the height of the blocks. You can use stacked books, whatever you have around. When you are ready to come up again, bend your knees a lot, lift all the way up with a flat back. Just habit for me, I think, to reach the arms up and bring them down. Now, I keep saying come up with a flat back. You can roll up through the spine, but do be aware that that does put a little pressure on your spine. Now, if you're 20 and you don't have any spine or bone issues, then great. But, you know, that's just something to be aware of. A variation is you can bend the knees, bring your hands to your thighs, and kind of press the hands down. Use the arms as you roll up just to create a little bit more support for the spine. So I hope that that was helpful. And I hope that, especially if you had any of those, I gotta do that, what? That's kind of been relaxed a little bit, because again, this is one of my favorite things about yoga, is that you don't have to compromise your health, your safety, or one part of your body for another. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, comments, disagreements, please leave them below. I would love to have a conversation about any of this. You know, this is my opinion from my own personal experience of, I came to yoga from ballet, which was very much the opposite. This is the way you need to do things. This is right, this is wrong. So for me, you know, I really appreciate the option of yoga to not be so hard, not be so critical, not be so precise, and really be a little bit more open, a little bit more free. That might not be what you like, which is fine, but I wanted to post this just as an option that you can play with if you want. So yes, let me know what you think, and also let me know if you have any requests for poses you would like in the pose breakdown series. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.